listening to Making Life Brighter on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel, where we provide you with the latest information in natural healing, consciousness training, and all cutting-edge healing modalities, featuring experts in their field, including authors, musicians, and artists. Making Life Brighter is your forum for healing, inspiring, and uplifting entertainment. Here is your host, Winifred Adams.
Good morning, everybody. I welcome you to a very special show today on Making Life Brighter Radio. I'm your host, Winifred Adams, and we have very special guest here in Southern California live with us today, Mr. Russell-J. Gould. Welcome back, Russell.
Hello.
It's so nice to have you here and have you back with us to answer more questions. And today, folks, we're going to go live where you can call in and ask your questions direct to Russell. So if you want to know about the 5G, you want to ask questions about quantum banking, you want to know the truth behind just about anything on planet Earth, you have it right at your fingertips. And the number to call in is 866-472-5792. That's 866-472-5792. So don't be afraid. Ask your questions, call in, and we'll take your questions because that's what this show is all about. And while you gear up to do that, we're going to jump right in because tonight we're going to have a very special private gathering with Mr. Russell-J. Gould here. And he is going to knock the socks off of people in Southern California, telling them the truth behind all of the performances that he's had over his lifetime so far, changing the world into what is now time and his time of understanding and taking apart all the different things that have been in place that have erroneously been in place. Can I say it that way?
Well, erroneously is a negative word, and time is no more, so it's just space.
Now time, space. But, we had a tremendous show on the 5G, and a lot of people responded to that show worldwide. So we have people listening in all different countries around the world, and a super shout out to those of you in China, in Russia, in the Netherlands, in the Middle East. Thank you for listening, and to everybody here in the U.S., and hello to everybody in Manchester, England. We see you. We see you over there in England listening. So we're welcoming you to the conversation and the party, and I'll call it tongue-in-cheek, the party of truth here. So correctness.
Of the truth.
Of the truth in quantum speak. So Russell, tell us a little bit more about what the Mockingbird whole CIA thing was. Let's just jump right in, and we're going to go deep into what that is and what that means to people. So
what it is it's a psychological control on people's thinking, and how that works is as the very creative minds come up through our space here, and they bring their concepts that aid planet Earth. The Mockingbird program is a public criticism tool against creative thinkers out here. And there are so many beautiful minds. Let me just thank planet Earth and the citizens of planet Earth for having a beautiful sovereign minds. It is a wonderful thing to have that creativity. Sadly, the governments curtail that so that they can always stay in control of your lives. And they're trying to justify that through the birth certificates that they give you as you're docked onto planet Earth. And since the birth certificate system worldwide is disqualified as a bill of lading, therefore the birth certificates are no longer valid for the governments to use to control your lives. So we have what's called a claim of the life, which now gives you nativity for the creation of your thoughts and the control of your outcomes of your worlds. Because we all have our own sovereignty, have our own conscious capacity to catalog things and bring things into fruition.
And so people would hear that and they'd say, oh, is this kind of a conspiracy theory? I know we've said this before, but I really want you to go into that.
There's no such thing as conspiracy theory. There's either fact or fiction. And fact and fiction cannot come together in the same location because fiction doesn't exist. So those of you that are holding birth certificates without a claim of the life are not really in a position for the statement of a claim of anything. And what I mean by that is, since I disqualified with my partner at the time, who's now passed, blessings, and all of you can watch the eulogy on that on YouTube on Reno-Tilde 1 and Reno-Tilde 2 and Reno-Tilde 3. But my partner, David-Winkle and Miller, and I disqualified the credentials and authorization of the Universal Postal Union in Bern, Switzerland. What that means is the countries of the world authorizations for corporate structure of government get their authorization from that country's post office. That country's post office also authorizes that country's banking construct through what's called the bills of the ladings. But since the disqualification of the syntax happened in a performance by the Russell-J. Gould, Postmaster-General of the World, on June 18th, 2003 in Bern, Switzerland, where I sat down with the heads of the Universal Postal Union and had a conversation about fact and fiction. Fiction doesn't exist, therefore the fact is. Point being, people with birth certificates are with the usury of something that is not. And so the PSYOP happens on the Mockingbird because they're trying to use that as a foundation to control and hold back the creativity of our minds.
Well, let's talk about Mockingbird for a minute in lay terms, because people may know about that somewhat and others may not have heard of it. And the Mockingbird setup technically was a creation of the CIA, and it was a funding of, I would say, erroneous kind of corporations that were taking money and then pooling them and stashing them over in the Philippines.
Yes, you can look at the society called the Tavistock Society, and they're the ones that created the PSYOP to create that type of thinking to keep the citizens of the world in a position where you lose credit in the sight of your fellow peers, in sight of society, which is an unfortunate thing because there's been many concepts of creativity and genius throughout this space that we call, I don't like to use the word time because time is no more. So when you look at the neutrality of things and zero-point energy, you pull things, and when you crack the harness of space, you can look at things in a different position to fix the flaws. And that's what we've done in the quantum grammar construct.
You fix the flaw of what I'll call untruth. And so this construct was set up to control people, essentially, and put the CIA into place. Now, the CIA, good or bad, according to some people. Are you
talking about cats, ink, and asking? Well, can you clarify that, please?
I can't clarify that, but you can.
Oh, sadly, neither can they. They run around the world. It's quite comical, and they actually tell everybody that they're intelligent. But when you use in as a prefix to a word, it means no. So they're actually running around the world telling everybody they're not intelligent. It is quite funny and quite an oxymoron. But sadly, the joke is on the citizens of the world. So we have to educate ourselves so we comprehend what syntax is. Syntax is the mechanics of operations of these words that we put together to communicate one to another. And so using the preposition or the preposition, we preposition and then we use the set to control the command on the facts.
And so people are understanding that there is an organization or organizations in place where they think it's for the benefit of this country. And what's happening is these organizations, and for example, going back to Mockingbird, is taking control of people's sovereignty.
Of their thinking.
And basically feeding it back to them as an asset when it's not really an asset. That's what you're saying. You're giving them back their sovereignty in your system.
What we're giving them is the capacity to be accountable for their actions based upon their performance. So you can create a manifestation that is beneficial for your lives. And
people would say, well, what is this? I've never heard of this. And what's so wrong with the CIA after all?
Well, CIA, can you clarify what that is? See, there's no closure there because you're bringing facts together without a procedure and seek to create a foundation for a fact. And so when you see CIA, those are acronyms. Those acronyms we can place a value to as adjectives, which is creates subjective interpretation on the facts. So to us, C could stand for cot. I could stand for ink, but I don't even necessarily know if you'd want to say that. And A can stand for autograph. Point being is you must give closure for contract so that people can commune or join with the concept. When you don't give closure, you create subjective interpretation and you enter the world of fiction because everybody can have a word value on what the acronym is of CIA.
So now I'm going to counter that just for a quick minute. We have 2 minutes left before break. There are certain things that you say are highly classified in these interviews, and you've said, I can't talk about that, that's highly classified. They would argue that they have classified information that the peoples wouldn't know. But what you just said is basically saying that people should have the right to be in joinder with the information.
There is technology that benefits our fellow mankind. In the very near months, I'm going to create performances for the manifestation of those technologies. Then the world will know on the correctness.
And there will be closure.
There'll be closure on the condition of mind on why we are creating performances that benefit and allow the chemistry problem of who we are to be balanced.
That's wonderful. We need balance, I would say. We're looking for balance, and many people in the U.S. and around the world don't even know they're looking for balance, yet there are a great number of us that are. And we're, especially on this show, we're always talking about equilibrium, balance. We're talking about health and wellness. We're talking about the possibility of new energies. We're talking about many, many different things which you yourself are involved in and bringing to the forefront and will be bringing forward, is what he just said. He will be enacting performances. I can't say that. I did it again. I'm learning.
You're learning. You use a lot of negative words.
I do. I've been conditioned.
It's the condition of the training.
Right.
So when we go in and reevaluate or not look at the training, and we can fix that, and which will create a sense of accountability based upon the condition of thinking of the performance.
Okay, that's a mouthful. We'll be right back. We're going to answer your questions. You can call in and ask. Call in 866-472-5792, and you can ask Russell a question yourself. So we'll be right back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. Stay tuned.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Have you seen Winifred's healing jewelry? See what collectors and celebrities have been adoring for decades. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning, based on the energetic healing property of natural semi-precious gemstones. Whether you prefer a custom design or wish to choose something special from her handcrafted line of jewelry, all of Winifred's designs are tuned in a crystal quartz tuning bowl to the word love. Blessed stones by masters and even John of God, these healing pieces have been coveted by happy customers for years. With a fine eye for energy and aesthetic, Winifred brings to life the beauty within each stone and its unique healing properties. Enjoy more energy with Brazilian citrine. Protect yourself from EMFs and rebalance with tourmalines. Break unwanted patterns with beautiful apatite. Choose from a wide variety of gemstones and their healing properties. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning. Follow on Facebook at Designs by Winifred or email at info@designsbywinifred.com.
Do you feel that you aren't at your best when it comes to your personal health? Even if your doctor gives you a clean bill of health and says everything is in working order, perhaps you aren't feeling at the top of your game. Dr. Rebecca Risk overcame pain and fatigue despite all tests to the contrary. Learn how she put her health back on track and how you can too on Falling Through the Cracks. Live every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 noon Eastern Time on Voice America Health and Wellness.
The Voice America Live Events channel is here now to showcase your corporate, individual, or organization's live event. Visit voiceamerica.com/live events to see all of our past live events and find out more. Whether it's a multi-day conference, special speaker, or single-day event, we've got everything to make your event a success. We can do a few hours or a few days. For more information about taking your event to the next level, call Jeff Spinard at 480-294-6417 or email info@voiceamerica.com. Again, that's Jeff Spinard at 480-294-6417 or send us an email to info@voiceamerica.com. Voice America is where you are and where you want to be. Join us around the globe as we broadcast live from some of the most interesting events available. Don't forget to view all our live events, including on-demand access to past events that you may have missed by visiting voiceamerica.com/live events.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
Welcome back to Making Life Brighter with Winifred Adams on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel, the preferred choice for conscious education and entertainment. For more information, please visit us at makinglifebrighter.com. If you have questions or comments, please email us at radio@makinglifebrighter.com. That's radio@makinglifebrighter.com. And now, back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
And we're back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. I'm your host, Winifred Adams, and today we are speaking with special guest Russell-J. Colin Gould, and he is Commander-in-Chief of Planet Earth. He is the Postmaster General, and he is many, many, many other things. And the titles are too long. I could take the whole segment like the Monty Python skit and go through it all, and at the end of it, I still wouldn't be done. Because that's what he does. And so it's a beautiful day here on the lake. The fish are jumping and the scenery is gorgeous, and we're going jolly. We hope that you're going jolly too. Tonight we're going to have a very special private meeting and talk with people here locally in Southern California, and they are going to get a taste in person of the magnitude of this man's performances. And this is what we're showcasing on these shows every other week so that you can come to understand what he's really done and how he's done it. So we're going to jump right back in. We're going to talk about the birth certificates and why what he's done is valuable to you, the citizens of the world. So tell us about the birth certificate system.
Okay. Well, first of all, fiction and the citizens of the world must comprehend that fiction and fact can never meet, which means facts are and fiction is not. It's fantasy. It's not actually in this dimension. So when you are born, and if you are born in a hospital, and if you continue to join the construct, such as go to the public school systems, get driver's licenses, passports, you have to use their launching contract called the birth certificate, which is an adjective pronoun. So the birth now becomes subjective interpretation. On the birth certificates, they put your mother's maiden name and your father's surname. Why that is because that way you are 50-50. You're not complete. There's no unity within the construct of bringing you here. Second of all, there's a box around the birth certificate, a little tiny box. And the words are all inside the box. Because of the federal styles manuals worldwide in each country, with the laws of the brackets and boxing, anything in a box isn't on the page. So this is fiction. We know these contracts to be fiction. Then the doctor, postmaster, puts a certified seal on your birth certificate and mails it into your country's vital statistics, which now launch an insurance wrap on you. and they put a value on what you are to them. And that way they can bank you at a later date, you go to their school systems. They teach you fake grammar and syntax so you can't read and write. That way when you come up with your creative ideas and you run into their patent office, by the way, all patent offices on planet Earth are closed due to fraudulent grammar. So now you have used fraudulent grammar in your creativity. Your creativity is normally designed to benefit our fellow mankind. They then take control of that and shelf the concept if it doesn't follow in their line of their thought process, the people that are controlling the technologies as they're brought forward by the citizens and their creativity in the conscious cataloged cargo of the citizens of the planet. So the birth certificates, then they put a certified seal on it, which now they move into the banking world. The banking world now gets its authorization from the post office, and that post office is in joinder with the Universal Postal Union out of Bern, Switzerland, which I disqualified that under fictitious grammar in July 12th, 2000.
And just as an interjection here, we already covered some of that in the previous shows that we've done with Russell, so you need to go back and listen to the archives at Making Life Brighter on the radio page. And in the player there, you have all the shows we've done before, and he has gone into this in depth and talked about it some more. So you want to catch up if you don't know what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Yes, this is the scope of magnitude of usury of our day-to-day mechanics. So in flip of that, we created, David Winkle Miller and myself created, what's called a claim of the life, which now uses prepossession or a prepositional phrase fact grammar to give closure of the fact to allow the cargo of your thinking to come on the contract.
So in other words, your creative ideas can be sovereign unto you, and a government system can't come along and say, no, you can't do that.
That is correct. Well, the government's all in fiction, adverb, verb.
But what if I created something that was detrimental to the people, and how do you deal with that?
Then we have to look at the condition of mind. So then we can preposition set the facts to ask the person what the accountability is to create something that creates harm to our fellow citizens. Now, if it is something that creates severe harm, then we can lock them up in isotopes to remove that conscious thinking out of here.
That's the future.
That is now.
It's now. And put them into a position of not manipulating their thinking, but
no longer allowing the mockingbird to continue.
Okay. Well, we have a caller.
Sure.
And this is Kathy from Pennsylvania. Kathy, are you there?
Yep, I'm here, Winifred.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you for calling in. Thank you for listening.
Hi. Hi,
And
Russell. Nice to see you.
Yeah. So go ahead and ask your question, Kathy.
I want to know, how can someone get a claim of the life and claim our sovereignty as part of the federal serf system if we're still in this fiat system?
That's a very good question. We have study groups all around the world. All claim of the lives are not created equal. What I mean by that is some are designed, like I designed mine specifically for foreign port navigation. So I've used mine, like everything that I've done, and I'm telling you guys, I've actually been in the courtrooms, the foreign courtrooms, and used these constructs to navigate myself. So my former partner, David Winkle Miller, has a form, but it is a form that is designed for real standard situations. You can get a claim of the life. You can email me and I can get them out to you, or you can contact, I have a group out of Canada that has plenty of claims of the life and good ones. Let's see, their website is www.redthumbclub.com. And they would be able to facilitate getting you claims of the life. I'm in the middle of the performance. So it's very difficult for me at this time to individually hand out claims of the life. But I have a team that is they're 8 or 9 years into this already. There's a couple of fraudsters out there that you really have to watch out for. A guy out of London, his name is Mark-Krishan-Christopher. He is not part of the quantum grammar construct. He was not a corporate member, not a shareholder, and he's making a lot of presumptions and taking people down a trail that is wrong on his style of syntax, and you're going to get yourselves in a lot of trouble there. But the group out of Canada is very good. There's several other groups. They're just the ones that are at the top of my head right now. So.
And so her question was, or your comment was that there would be different kinds. Would she get a certain kind?
They would have the style to help her navigate through foreign ports. Those are the ones that I grant out to people. And the reason why I do that is I want my paperwork and the people that are coming into the quantum construct, I want it user-friendly for them. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted something that they can use to control foreign port navigation, either through the joinder through their driver's licenses or through the joinder through their passports or other concepts.
And so when people have a claim of the life, what does that give them in terms of rights to travel in different countries and other things in business?
Correct. Well, what that gives them is the capacity for the statement of a claim, so they can identify what a fact looks like. Fiction and fact can never meet. So if they can control the facts of their world, then they can control the outcomes of their manifestations.
Is that subjective?
No, it's performance.
And so everything is based on performance.
Yes, the condition of thinking of what created the performance. As a judge, this is what we look at.
But is there a standardization of the condition of thinking?
No, each person is sovereign to themselves.
And how would you determine, like, just because we don't agree doesn't mean it's necessarily wrong?
Correct. It's based upon the performance. Is the performance of that fact used to benefit our fellow mankind?
Well, there you have it. And thank you for calling in, Kathy.
Thank you so much. Great question.
So we'll be back in just a minute. We're going to ask Russell more questions, and you can call in if you have more questions for Russell. That's a great question, and that really. Yeah. So again, what's the website for?
If they want to get a hold of a claim of the life, a decent one, go to www.redthumbclub.com.
Great. Is there a fee to that?
I don't know. That's their usury. I'm not involved with that.
But it is your authorization to them to do that?
Yes, it is.
All right. So you're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. If you haven't heard the shows previous to this, please go back and listen to the archives because it's an educational journey that we're doing here. We are talking in our Conversations in Consciousness series with Russell-J. Gould, and he is the Commander-in-Chief of Planet Earth, and he has had the performances that give him the authority to be in that position. And we've been discussing that at length, and we will continue to discuss that as we go forward. Stay tuned. Email me if you have questions, radio@makinglifebrighter.com. And also, if you would like a claim of the life, you can go back and check out the archives here, and you can pass that along to other people. How that benefits you is what you'll be learning over time. And get ready, because this fall there's going to be a big performance. We'll be right back.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Have you seen Winifred's healing jewelry? See what collectors and celebrities have been adoring for decades. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning, based on the energetic healing property of natural semi-precious gemstones. Whether you prefer a custom design or wish to choose something special from her handcrafted line of jewelry, all of Winifred's designs are tuned in a crystal quartz tuning bowl to the word love. Blessed stones by masters and even John of God, these healing pieces have been coveted by happy customers doctors for years. With a fine eye for energy and aesthetic, Winifred brings to life the beauty within each stone and its unique healing properties. Enjoy more energy with Brazilian citrine. Protect yourself from EMFs and rebalance with tourmalines. Break unwanted patterns with beautiful apatite. Choose from a wide variety of gemstones and their healing properties. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning. Follow on Facebook at Designs by Winifred or email at info@designsbywinifred.com.
Healthcare has been a major part of news stories today, with one thing that has been consistent: inconsistency. Both healthcare providers and patients have to work around and get used to a constantly changing set of rules and issues. Nurses have historically been left out of this decision-making. Listen to Once a Nurse, Always a Nurse, Exploring the World of Nursing with host Leanne Meyer. Health professionals, we invite you to share your ideas and experiences while listening to experts in various areas of nursing. Listen Mondays at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on Voice America Health and Wellness.
When a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer, it's probably the most frightening thing that's ever happened to her. Friends and family often don't know what to do for support, not to mention the patient herself. That's where Breast Friends Cancer Support Radio comes in. Join Becky Olson and Sharon Hennepin, breast cancer survivors and advocates. They help by providing inspiration, information, and most of all, hope. Tune in Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 noon Eastern Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel, and Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Women's Channel.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
Welcome back to Making Life Brighter with Winifred Adams on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel, the preferred choice for conscious education and entertainment. For more information, please visit us at makinglifebrighter.com. If you have questions or comments, please email us at radio@makinglifebrighter.com. That's radio@makinglifebrighter.com. And now, back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
We're back. You're listening to Winifred Adams and Making Life Brighter Radio, and I'm here today with special guest Russell-J. Gould. And, you know, I'm just going to put it into context because I haven't talked about this yet, how I met Russell. And this was really almost a bizarre, fated event from my opinion and my perspective. I was invited to what I thought was a quantum banking seminar. And someone that I had known in passing over time had invited me to the seminar, and my goodness, I thought I was going for a quantum banking educational seminar, and what I walked into was a bit of a shocker for me. At first, I couldn't understand what I was in the middle of, and I was the only female that was really invited to this event to sit there and learn from it. But what I walked into instead were some people that apparently were on the side of the IMF and World Bank, and they were looking to get these claims of the life from Russell to establish and set up their network of banking using his system. But maybe their volition of action, if I'll say that, was not of the proper intention. And I got to see that played out in front of me, which was very confusing at first because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't even know what a claim of the life was in that moment. And so they wanted a claim of the life from him. And they wanted to establish their banking system from him. And he walked in a room. I didn't even know who he was yet. And he immediately comes to the table and he points at these people and he says, "You don't check out, and you don't check out, and you don't check out." And there's nobody that here has the proper credentials. Correct. And so I'm like, what is going on? So, Russell, you can lend your context to that because I was so confused and I thought, whoa, who is this guy? What's going on?
What that was the supposed representatives of the Five Star Trust through Operation Studebaker, which was the sustainable trust fund for the black ops of planet Earth through the opium and coke trade on planet Earth.
Which I didn't even know.
Yes, and I said, no, thank you. The quantum construct is not going to be a storefront for the blood wars. We all know in our gut, somehow, some way, that the war on drugs is fake. And we all know in our gut and through statistics of watching the PSYOP of 9/11 happen that was faked. And so I've been asked over 26 times by the U.S. military to back the dinar. And my question for them, because I'm comptroller of the global currency, what that means is I have the credentials to authorize and change out global currencies, because I have the knowledge in those specific fields as postmaster general, and I control all stock markets, the grammar in all stock markets in planet Earth. Planet Earth's stock markets were put on, given closure by me in 2004, 2005, when I notified all stock markets that their grammar was fictitiously conveyed, and I reauthorized a quantum stock market for planet Earth based on a floating rate of balance of the macroeconomics. That all changes with technology, because there's an I don't like to use the word abundance, but there is plenty of wealth for everyone. One of the first things that will happen as the planet the people put me in position is we're going to give people free up their time. We're going to take the yoke of the financial harness on them. At the same time, we're going to balance the chemistry of the intake of the foods that we put in us. The vaccines, we're going to take a very close look at that. We're going to stop all that nonsense, and we're going to put things into our chemistry problem, which is our vessels, our bodies, that will help balance, which will now change the chemistry of our psyche. So these are things that I'm in the middle of in my Directors Hyphen campaign for the Directors Hyphen Party. And here in the U.S., you're going to get to start seeing performances on that very shortly. So,
and that's very critical. But in that meeting where we met,
yes,
you disqualified that by basically saying to them, no, I will not authorize your intention on this system in my quantum system.
Yeah, the condition of thinking to allow the dinar on a platform is fraudulent, because it is the fruits of a fraudulent war. And I conducted a military court-martialing for 4 years in Washington, D.C. every 45 days. So the U.S. military came in with over 20 to 40 cameras on me every time, with Apache helicopters and Chinook helicopters above me with cameras out filming the event. So there was over 10,000 mailings on the court-martialing of Bush and Cheney and those guys, and I tried to stop the Iraq war for fictitious grammar. See, it goes back to the Florida Chads in the election of 2000, and I had already positioned myself as Postmaster General, and I go over that in my War Castle series on YouTube. If you go to War Castle 0 through 12, you can see the closure on the bankruptcies here in what they call the United States. That's when the Constitution of the United States ended, and the guidelines for presidential elections ended as well. So I'm going to be demonstrating that or showing that to the public on a performance here in the very near future. And I've kind of brought some evidence for Winifred to look at, and she's nodding her head here. It actually is factual, and it was done.
It's unbelievable, really. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, let's quickly just talk about, we have a caller waiting, but let's talk about the Zim notes. Are they the same as the dinar?
They are. They're a bill of the lading authorized by that country's post office. That country's post office I don't have a contract with. Therefore, I'm not going to authorize it. And I don't authorize fictitious grammar as well. So they're going to have to get their grammar correct in order for the people to benefit. However, the people can bypass them and come directly into the quantum construct, and we're going to be sharing those performances in the near future for them.
There you go. Let's take our caller. We have Sheila calling in from Pennsylvania.
Hello?
Hi, Sheila. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
What's your question, Russell?
Okay. My question is, Russell is Commander-in-Chief of the planet.
Correct.
But the masses don't recognize this. How can he get into the position where the masses recognize this and he can start implementing what he has done?
Very good question. Thank you very much. Yes, what I would need is my concerns, of course, are for my security as I navigate, because fact and fiction can never meet. The problem that I'm having is every time I show up everywhere, everybody takes off a running. So I got to be able to catch them, to hold them in place, and that's where I need security details to do that for me. Now we can catch them, and they can now create and learn about how to be correct. The problem is everybody takes off a running when I come.
For real.
For real. This
has been captured on video in the past somewhere. It's in the archives that no one wants you all to see, right?
That is correct.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you for calling in. We have another caller, Joey from Texas. Joey, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me. I have a question here for Colin Russell -J. Gould. My question is what would you do for our local police deputies, highway patrol, and our military members for it? Say they were put in position to come forth and help you show who you are in a performance. What could you do to guarantee their safety, their pensions? Because we all always know someone's going to threaten them with their pensions or their safety. What would you do in that situation?
Very good question, Joey -John Colin Lester. I would do several things. First of all, I have technology for generating wealth. If they're willing to provide the security for those technologies, at that point, they would reap the benefits of the generation of the wealth. So their financial security will be solid with me. Second of all, we must take the yoke and put the own, because each society location has different resonance of frequency based upon the conditions that they're in. Now, what I mean by that is here in Malibu, there is a different style of thinking based upon society's needs. They will differ from location to location. It's kind of like raising a child. A child goes through phases of learning stages. In the phases of learning stages, you have to change the curriculum so that the outcome is beneficial towards society. So the law enforcement officers, and you have to take the yoke of the federal nonsense and the police state, and instead of going in and beating people, they're going to go in and ask people, what is the condition of thinking to create this performance? So we're going to open up the condition of mind to interact, and that's not the right word, to connect with society and the people of society and the citizens out here that are being beat down.
And how would you protect their pensions specifically?
With the technologies that I have in making manufacturing.
We just need to bring you forward. That's the first step. And there needs to be some kind of additional funding to protect that performance, is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay. Now, thank you for calling in, Joey. Thank you for calling in, Sheila. And we'll be right back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. We appreciate all of your interest and all of your listens and all of your shares. I've seen some of that too. And so we are in 160 different countries around the world. And we've had a tremendous following from this series. So go ahead and keep sharing, because this information probably needs to get out there worldwide for people to understand what's coming this fall. Stay tuned. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. We'll be right back with more Russell-J. Colin Gould.
Become our friend on Facebook. Post your thoughts about our shows and network on our timeline. Visit facebook.com/Voice America.
Have you seen Winifred's healing jewelry? See what collectors and celebrities have been adoring for decades. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning, based on the energetic healing property of natural semi-precious gemstones. Whether you prefer a custom design or wish to choose something special from her handcrafted line of jewelry, all of Winifred's designs are tuned in a crystal quartz tuning bowl to the word love. Blessed stones by masters and even John of God, these healing pieces have been coveted by happy customers for years. With a fine eye for energy and aesthetic, Winifred brings to life the beauty within each stone and its unique healing properties. Enjoy more energy with Brazilian citrine. Protect yourself from EMFs and rebalance with tourmalines. Break unwanted patterns with beautiful appetite. Choose from a wide variety of gemstones and their healing properties. Designs by Winifred is fine jewelry with meaning. Follow on Facebook at Designs by Winifred or email at info@designsbywinifred.com.
Addiction can affect our relationships, our families, our home, and work lives, but most importantly, ourselves. The recovery process can do wonders in the lives of people suffering from active addiction and also for those that love them. It's not just 12-step programs, but so much more. It's learning how to live life on life's terms. If you can relate to these issues or love someone who does, start with yourself. Start by tuning in to Miracles in Recovery with host Ray Lynch, Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Hope is in your corner.
How much health and wellness information have you been exposed to today? Listen to Prescription for Success with Dr. Emil Haldi. Healing and empowerment start from within, but it also takes the best knowledge and advice. That's what you'll find here. Dr. Haldi and his guests will help you make the right life-enhancing decisions for well-being success. Tune in live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel for Prescription for Success.
Have you friended us on Facebook yet? Why not? Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for the keywords Voice America. Once you are part of our Facebook network, you'll receive daily messages about what's happening with our shows, this week's featured guests, and new happenings at the Voice America Talk Radio Network. And you can add your voice to the always active discussions on our timeline. Just go to facebook.com/Voice America or search for Voice America.
Welcome back to Making Life Brighter with Winifred Adams on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. For more information, please visit us at makinglifebrighter.com. If you have questions, comments, or would like to make an appointment with medical intuitive Winifred Adams, please email us at radio@makinglifebrighter.com. Be sure to like us on Facebook at Making Life Brighter, the preferred choice for conscious education and entertainment. Now back to the show with your host, Winifred Adams.
And we're back. You're listening to Making Life Brighter Radio. We have Russell-J. Gould here today, and we're going to jump back into those two questions that the callers asked last segment. How does Russell bring all this forward? And how does that help protect people in their jobs that they currently have?
Yes, hello. Yes, to answer the question, as you may know, and most of you know, that the United States Post Office is in violation of Title 39, Section 101, subsection A and B, because there's no president, there's no guidelines for any of that.
You disqualified the Presidential Elections Committee?
I did. You've seen the letters from the disqualification of the Presidential Elections Committee. You've seen the paperwork syntax for a statement of candidacy, which is a pronoun, adverb, verb. And all the guidelines and all questions to the presidents are in a box. And under the laws of boxing, there's nothing there. So it says nothing. It is nothing. It all stems from the illusion of the presidential election in the Florida Chads of 2000. See, what happened is the bankruptcy ended on November 2nd, 1999, and they had to vacate the estate of presidency. But because there were no guidelines to elect president anymore, because there was no United States, instead of coming in and telling the people about me, they moved forward with an attempt to kick off a new world order and create disorder all over the world, which is the chaos that you've seen from the losers of the Bush gang. So they are the big losers on the planet. And the people that were harmed by their fraudulent acts of war, when I get into position, they will get their just dues.
And so let's go back to those two questions because we have just a short minute. How would people be protected further in their families with this changeover of system?
Okay, so what happens is that the U.S. military, before a soldier goes into the U.S. military, he must go to the post office first and register so he can enter the postal military to go fight the postal wars. So I would form contracts, what I call muster hyphen rolls, to position the soldiers to aid the people. So it might look a little scary at first, but because of the martial law, and what I mean by that is in all 50 states, all governor's office, the spear or the spire is on top of the state flags. During time of war, contract is suspended, which means that all states are at war against their citizens. Coincidentally enough, at the United Nations, I sat down with 82 nations at the United Nations. I sat down with the Postal Administration for the United Nations. When you walk into any embassy at the United Nations, there's a ball on top of the flag standard, says they're recruiting contract. When you walk into the administrative office, there's an eagle or a bird on top, and then when you go actually through the doors, there's a spear on top. The head of the United Nations, Robert Gray, confessed to me that the United Nations is a fraudulent organization with zero grammar and zero authorization to exist, and they were at war with the people. And this was in April of 2003, and nothing has changed. In every governor's office and every embassy, the protocol of the law, the flag, is in a performance. Luckily for me, the description for the spires worldwide are written in adverb verb and say nothing. So I've created the fact, created the performance, conducted the martial law hyphen court martialing, and now I'm looking for the noun modifiers to anybody who uses force to perform on a verb or an adjective or a pronoun. By the definition of the terrorist is a terrorist. So my definition and their definitions are two different things, and I have the facts and they have no facts. Therefore, the fact is standing. So that's how that happens to help the citizens. It may look a little scary at first, but the goal is to have each society be its own self-sustaining community. And the way we do that is with technology, and we have to change out our intake, which is the food and the water, that we have to make sure that we're not taking in the sugars and reprogram things so that the condition of mind balances out.
And also no modified foods and water. But going back to the original question of how people would transition in this with their families without,
correct.
If they stand behind this shift. Correct. And they help in the shift.
Correct.
How do they?
Well, first of all, I would give a jubilee for the first year.
What's that?
What we want to do is we want to take the pressure off the citizens, right? The pressure of the mortgage, the pressure, and we want to, in that year of jubilee, we want to educate them on, number one, the grammar, how it works, and number two, at the same time, simultaneously, we want to make sure that the technology is in people's hands so they have applied conveyance of the benefits of the technology, which is a lot of the free energy technologies, a lot of the water technologies, so we imprint a positive society. See, it's not the gun that kills, it's the condition of thinking that picks up the gun. So we have to look at the problem here. It's not necessarily the tools that we have in front of us, but the condition of thinking that creates the performance.
And so the Jubilee would do what for people?
The Jubilee will give people a chance to, number one, get grounded and find themselves.
But if you give a Jubilee, it is doing what for people? What is that?
The Jubilee is taking the yoke of the financial hardships off of them.
So how would you do that? What would that be?
It would be a credit system at that point on a coupon in the banking where each person would have allotted so much financial wherewithal within those terms. Number one, all the mortgages in the United States are written in fiction, so everybody would get to own their house. So I would write a contract.
Right off the bat?
Right off the bat. This is now space performance. This is not where we sit around and wait. This is a 72-hour decision to make this happen. If planet Earth wants me to come there, I will come.
That's astounding. That's a shift that could really turn the tide on everything, because then people would have that much more security and in time in which to learn this, to
space, not time.
Space.
We move them out of earth time banking and we put them in divine time banking to allow them to be their own sovereigns, bring their own energy, bring their own consciousness as cargo to the forefront.
That's incredible. Incredible. I mean, wow. Goodness, we need to bring you forward. How do we bring this man forward? Who's out there that can finance that to bring him forward? Because wouldn't everybody want their house to be theirs all of a sudden?
See, the banks in the United States don't have authorization to act as a clearinghouse for the people anymore because the birth certificate system's dead. The U.S. Post Office doesn't have a flag authorization to create the credentials for the bank. And I have that, and this is what makes me me, to help the people.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is such a pleasure. Thank you for coming down here and being live with us today. This is a fantastic show. And that was just like the cherry on the cake for the ending. Oh my gosh. Well, there you go, everybody. Share that worldwide. And then some, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. Wow. Thank you, Russell. What makes your life brighter?
Just a big smile on my face, my family, seeing people happy. I consider myself a very happy and bright person.
You are a happy, bright person.
Yeah.
He's very calm. I just want you to know, and being in his presence is very calm. But thank you for coming today. Everybody, you need to dance Going Jolly now. I mean, that is unbelievable. So get ready for performance, and maybe we should do a GoFundMe campaign for this. All right. Stay tuned. We don't have an outtake today because we have a special performance tonight live, but we'll have more for you in the next weeks to come. More with Russell-J. Gould. He is the most fair individual I've ever met. Unbelievable. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Making Life Brighter on the Health and Wellness Channel. Be sure to join us every Thursday at 10 a.m. for information, inspiration, and education with leading experts in healing and consciousness. For more information and a complete show schedule, please visit us at makinglifebrighter.com. Making Life Brighter, successfully helping you feel better from the inside out. Go Jolly!